Howdy, howdy, howdy. Give me one sec while I get it going over to Facebook. There you go. Post. Post. We did it, man. All right. So, hey, man, Bob's back. How is everybody, man? It's Monday. Bob's back. Biker News Canada. And so, listen, usually through the week, I tell you who's having a bike night tomorrow night or where a bike night will be tomorrow night or whatever. But we're getting at the end of the season. So I'll tell you about one. Hang on. Before we get started, and remind everyone, I've already sold two more. I got two going out tomorrow. One night at the Playpen. It's my book about my time. One of the big three motorcycle clubs in the world. It happened right here in Canada. Check it out. Get a hold of me on any social media messaging spot. I'll find the message, I'll sign it to you, and I'll get it to you. Used to be in the mail, but they're on strike. But I will find a way to get the damn thing to you. And there you go. So, like I say, autographed copies on demand. Not a bad deal. So listen, I got one last season-ending kind of thing. Whoa, dude. What did I do there? Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Stop sharing. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to just get up the right thing to share. Let's try that one instead. Yes, that one instead. So, the last Tuesday night of the season by the NBS Riders, Port Colborne down there by Niagara Falls. 6 p.m. start, door prizes, slow races, and a 50-50. So get on down there, Port Colborne, NBS Riders. Location is booked. The band is booked. And okay, so there's more to this post. They said mark your calendar for February 7th because they're going to do an annual winter get together February 7th. But the bike night is in the regular spot. I can't remember what the regular spot is, but if you've been going to them, you know where it is. So I think that's it for bike nights on Tuesdays, dudes. Just so's you knows up. Have a quick stop here and say hi to the chat. And we got Sold Out in the chat. How are you, bro? Good to see you, my friend. And tonight I'm going to do this story off my head, out of my memory. It's like two little stories I'm going to make into one story sort of thing. So we're gonna base this story on if you're in a 1% club, or even if it's not a 1% club, but if you're in a club and you or one of your brothers or some of your associates are in a criminal activity for their living or whatever, how bad do you think the cops are trying to listen to you, especially guys in 1% clubs, because they love to take down 1% clubs and get all the media attention and call them a big criminal organization and all the bad press that they can muster up that goes with such an arrest, right? So trust me, the man is dying to listen to you. So let's say like what happened there some months back, and some guys from 81 got arrested for assaulting somebody else or something, and then a couple personal homes in their clubhouse got raided. Well, you have to go into that clubhouse and even your personal home after a raid, just assuming that the place has got a wiretap in it somewhere, it's bugged. So when they get inside of a house and they got the run of the house, and you're out there inside the squad car on the way downtown, you don't know what they're doing in your house. So you have to assume the worst, because this will link into the first little story. Back when I was still doing the club thing, then another club rolled into town and ended up being, as it were, the bigger club. Even within our own city, they grew to be bigger than us. But anyways, so there was one guy in that outfit that was coming down from Toronto. So he bought a house down in London, where I'm at, in our city. And of course, because he was going to open the chapter down here for that new club that was coming in town. So in between the people that sold him the house moving out and him moving in, the cops got in there. The cops got in there and they wired up that whole place. So, and out of that, um, they recorded him talking about doing pew at some of our people, and because of that, they got some arrests out of it and some convictions out of that. So let me tell you, they love a recording. They love nothing better than have you saying it in your own voice, coming out of your own mouth on a wiretap that's in your house. It's pretty hard to dispute that it's you saying something you shouldn't have, right? So there's one instance where I can think of where they really now the last time I was up in a big investigation, I wasn't in the club no more, but I continued on my wayward ways. So anyways, it's a big investigation, and they had all of our phones. Now I kept switching phones all the time. My work phone, I kept switching all the time, and but the other people I was working with didn't switch their phones so often. So they had us. And then I said to my lawyer, I said, well, what about, because this phone that they're saying is me talking on isn't in my name. So how do they know it's my phone? So my lawyer explained to me that they will bring in a speech expert who'll listen to the recording and how you generally speak and how you time your sentences and you structure your sentences, and they'll say to the judge, yes, I can say, that's him, right? So I'm like, come on, that sounds a little far-fetched. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. But anyways, so then he was telling me a story, and this is a kind of a weird story. Sorry, up in Thunder Bay, Ontario, some time back. I don't even got to tell you what club it is, because that's not even relevant what club it was. So it's up in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and they wanted to arrest. They're investigating these guys up there in the club. So they got all their phones, and from following them around and everything, they found the storage location. And so I guess everyone was working out of the same starting thing, right? And they were all going and getting what they needed and doing what they needed to do with it. So the cops went in and took some of it, and then they listed all these phones that they had tapped, right? And so all the guys are calling back and forth, and they're accusing each other, and they're asking each other, and where did this go? And we're missing that. And hey, did you happen to go pick up this? Not telling. And it was crazy. And it, bam. And it got, however many guys it worked out to be. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know those parts of the story, but that's how they did it, man. They did, but I think they call it a sneak and peek, and they just took some. And then there's nothing worse than a bunch of brothers that all of a sudden don't trust each other, because all of a sudden there's so now these guys are in jail together in the bucket, going through the disclosure, hearing what their brothers are saying about them behind their back, because they're upset. They're not thinking about the fact that they're on a phone. People who are in the bad guy world should avoid the phones as much as they can, but for some reason people just don't let that sink in. You know what I mean? Not to say everyone should be in the bad guy business. I don't recommend it. It's fun while it lasts until you're wearing orange. And then when you're wearing orange, they take all the crap that you bought anyway from doing the other things. So then you come back and you have to sit some time out if you get convicted, or you got to spend all that money on a lawyer to try not to get convicted. And you're back to zero. So you kind of have no choice but to get back in the same business that got in trouble in the first place, if you know what I mean. So anyways, that's my take on it. It's better if you can find yourself a nice little business that's related to, if you're into bikes, that's related to what you're passionate about, and find a way to turn an honest buck. And I'll tell you that's just from personal experience. A lot to be said for sign language and whiteboards. Yeah, back in the day, I could have a whole conversation about speaking. Well, that's how we did it too. Once you're in the club, and that's one thing I miss about being in the club, right? You could sit there behind the bar when the clubhouse is packed and know exactly what each other's thinking, communicate with each other. You're already making plans on throwing out some rowdy guy without saying a word. You know what I mean? I used to sit there and not say nothing. I'd let everyone come and talk to me, and they would come. And as the night got later, they'd tell me all their secrets, all their secrets. And it was wonderful because then all of a sudden, the next day when you see them and everyone's sober, it's like, hey, so I heard that you do this. You got a partner now. And it was beautiful, right? So I got myself, I have my fingers in quite a bunch of little pots at the end of the deal. So yeah, I used to miss that too. And chalkboards, writing on paper and setting it on fire. You know what I mean? There's lots of things you can do. And when you get doing more serious things with more serious people, you'll find that nobody talks. You can have 8 people in a room and nobody saying a word. So yeah. So, anyways, if the bad guy world is the world that you happen to be in, keep those little tips in mind. I do know a lot about wiretap investigations because I read all my disclosure. I had about a year to read it before I got bail in the high court. You have to keep another thing in consideration before they can get a wiretap to listen to your voice. They get what's called a DNR, a dialed number recorder, and that's so that if it's your phone and the guy that you're doing a lot of business with's phone that they want to actually listen to, well, if there's a 500 phone calls between those two phones in a month, they can take that to the judge and get that warrant so they can listen to them two phones. Because you can't listen to nothing legally without a warrant. You want to make good money and be around the bike community as part of it. Be a tattoo artist, yes, indeed, or a motorcycle mechanic, absolutely, bro. All the tattoo artists I knew that were in clubs and stuff, they had a big business, lots of following. They were good artists, and that's a great way to make money is being an artist and putting things on people's skin, man. It's wonderful. Nobody can ever get enough tattoos. I'm pretty much sleeved up, and I've probably only paid for 40% of my tattoos and across my chest too. So, you know what I mean? But tattoos are always a great money maker. You're absolutely right, so loud, and being a good wrench too. If you can keep up with the new technology on Harleys, that's one thing. All the best wrenches I knew would actually go to the Harley training. You know what I mean? Where they actually train guys to fix their bikes because they changed the motors a lot over the last few years, I guess, right? With the Milwaukee 8, whatever came before that, and all that stuff. The last motor I've ever owned been a twin cam, and apparently they haven't made that particular motor in ages. But I want to build one. I think I'm in the process to get my shit back together and might change locations here and stuff like that. And when I get all that shit sorted out, there's a big shop, and I might piece one together. Maybe piece together an Evo hardtail or something like that with electric start for 4 or 5 speed. You don't need 5 speed. You don't need much, and just at least have something there that's already on 2 wheels, and then see what happens about getting a bagger for the highway, right? So that's what I got. That was just, I figured there's not a whole bunch going on. There's not a whole bunch of biker news to talk about. Other than the heat and the internal pressure, the twin cam was a great engine. I liked it. So they do run hot, eh? Because I know the one pipe on my Street Glide, man, it was right near the back of my leg. Jeez, man, it was hot back there. Yeah. So they're known to run hot. That makes sense. I just saw because the bike I had bought off this guy, he put true dual exhaust on it. So I had a pipe for each jug. And then it was the headers at the start of it, right? So I thought it was down to that, but yeah, that makes sense because that bike I had that pipe, and it was on the left side of the bike, and it was like really hot by my leg there, man. But yeah, so that's what I got tonight. I'm gonna go back and try to build me an Evo over the winter, I think. I think the parts for them are getting a little more reasonable. The only hard part about building bikes anymore is insuring them, because most insurance companies in London, if your VIN number doesn't start with a 1HD, or in Canada or Ontario, I mean, if your VIN number doesn't start with 1HD, they don't want to insure it. They call it a custom bike, and there's only one or two companies that'll touch it, and then you got to pay the premium. I'm still on an Evo. Nothing newer interests me. Yeah, right on, Peter. And you know what, man? My last club bikes, because that was the era. I left the club in the early 2000s, right? They were Evos. The twin cams were just kind of coming out. We didn't really know enough about them. And I don't know too many club guys that buy brand new bikes anyway. And, I had the 110 stroker, and then I had the one before. It was just an 80cc, and it was fine, man. It was fine. What more do you need, really? Although I didn't mind the street glide with the twin cam and the exhaust work. And I think he had a chip too. So it was tuned one or two stages. That street glide moved out pretty good. But my buddy had a what's one's called the fast production bikes that they got. That's slipping my head today. And when he took off from a stop, and when him and I took off from a stoplight, he always walked away from me, man. Always. What's that bike called? I can't remember what it's called now, man. It's right in my head. Hey, man, my buddy had a V-Rod too. And I swear I had that V-Rod, clutch all the way out, rolling in second gear. I cracked it and the back tire broke loose. That bike was fast. And he did the exhaust and tuned that baby too. CVO Vanguard, thank you. So the CVO that my buddy's got, and then my street glide, same bike except for the CVO part. He walked away from me off of every stoplight, no problem. I've never rode a Buell. I think a buddy of mine bought a Buell for his son, but none of us got around to riding it. And then he sold it. But I like the V-Rod. I'd really like to get a V-Rod. And then they had that special racing Buell. What, didn't they? Is that what you got there, the show? The 1203? That's the big Buell, isn't it? Isn't it? There's a red one and a black one or something like that. And they're different sizes. That's the one bike I didn't really get to know that much about. It's too bad kind of that Harley doesn't make another sport style bike, because their engine's not a bad motor as far as I know. The motor in the V-Rod was built by Porsche, and it was liquid cooled, and it still sounded like a Harley, like not as lumpy lump like a V-twin, but it was cool. So on my shorts on my channel, right on, bro. I'm gonna go back in and look at your channel, brother. I appreciate you watching mine too, man. I appreciate that. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna plan on doing. Get myself settled in here and figure out what's going on. And if I can't buy a whole bike in one piece, I'll buy one in pieces. I don't care. I'll figure it out. I've seen enough of them get built. I know enough guys that if I get stuck somewhere, I can make a phone call and they'll walk me through it. So you know what I mean? If you got that, I know a guy can buy a frame off of too. So hopefully I can buy one HD frame and we'll figure it out. Even though I'd like to build, my first bike was came before the Dyna, FXR. I'd like to build me another FXR. That thing was meant to ride, man. No problems with that bike ever. Rode it all up and down, all over the province, and never let me down. So yeah, I've never really had a bike that was a bad bike, except for one time I got the Decker in the first year of the Evo. So they were switching from the shovel to the Evo, and the inside of the fairing had nothing in it. It had the speedo and stuff like on a snowmobile dash on the Triple Tree, or on the bars there. And that fucking bike, oh, what a disaster. And it kept like clutches and clutch cables and weird things. I finally took it in. The main shaft and the transmission was bent. And I just sold the thing for like nothing. Just take it, right? actually left it downtown Toronto unlocked and everything down and nobody took the damn thing. So it was still there in the morning, man. Like that. So I took it home and continued on. All right, but that's it. That's what I want to talk about. We got one more thing in Port Colborne. If you happen to live in the Niagara area, go give the MBS riders some love there. That's their last bike night of the season. And like I say, keep that in mind if you're in the bad guy side of the world. They got ears everywhere. Twin cam electric glides are cheap and everywhere. The electric glide is basically the bagger, right? Is that what an electric glide is? I guess if I had a street glide having a Decker, there's not much of a difference, is there? There's just one more bag. So I really like the lines on the street glide. If you look down the profile, they seem to flow really well. I just don't know why I really like that bike. It just looked sexy to me, right? The guy had already had the 21-inch front wheel on it, so you know what I mean. I didn't have to do nothing to it. I just gave her shit. Yeah, a Decker, yeah. Or what we used to call Deckers anyway. What do we call them Deckers? Anyone know where the terminology the Decker came from? Because that's what we always called the big bike with all the bags, right? I always wondered that. We had one brother here in the chapter here, and he rode his bike 12 months a year. That's all he had for transportation. So that's what he rode, right? He was quite a dude. He would go down the beer store and he'd strap 3-4 cases of beer all over that crazy Decker and down through the snowstorm. He didn't care, man. That's what he had, so that's what he rode. Good brother. You can't call a guy much more of a biker than a guy who does that, right? So anyways, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for stopping by and checking me out this evening and getting in the chat. You guys get in the chat. You mean the world to me. You just make the show better. I could do a show just talking to you guys in the chat, and sometimes I do. I like it. You know, I get to feel like I kind of get to know you guys. Hello, Mr. Green Thumb. Good to see you, bro. I'm just wrapping it up for the night, bro. So thanks everyone who popped in and left some comments. The show, you got your own channel. Is that what it's called? Is it called The Show? I will check you out. You have a great one too, Mr. Green Thumb Ottawa. And thanks for popping in, Vanguard Prospect Mike and Peterborough Chad. Always good to see you. And Grant, I don't think I've met you yet. Thank you, Grant, for coming in there. And Lulu and So Loud, of course, from down there in North Carolina. It's nice to have our American friends joining us too. Thank you, brother. I'll be back tomorrow night with some more cool stuff. I'll keep coming every night. We'll find stuff to talk about. Until then, guys, keep the shiny side up and the rubber side down. And be safe out there, everyone. Much love and respect. Good night.